Yes, we should care about every individual. But I think that the Rindenow family is not just one other individual. I think when a young boy volunteers to serve in Eretz Yisrael and leaves behind his family, friends, he's young, and he volunteers to serve, and he pays the ultimate price, the Mesirus Nefesh. That is not just another individual. So when I was asked to come and participate in this kind of chizuk, I did not feel I had the liberty to say no. I have a very busy schedule. I'm in America just for a few days. I said a shir in the morning and another one this evening. But I cannot say I'm happy to be here. No, I'm not happy to be here. No one is happy to be here, but I feel privileged to be here. And if I could give the Rindenows one drop of chizuk, Yehi Zeschoi. Could one possibly find words to be menachem? A father, a mother, the siblings of a 21-year-old, 20-year-old boy that fell on Kiddush Hashem. The only thing we could say is that your pain is our pain, and your loss is the loss of the entire Klal Yisrael. So we are b'yamei bein hamtzorim, in these tragic days of mourning, al churban beis mikdashenu v'sifarteinu. And the Medrash in Eicho tells a story, the same story as in Sanhedrin Daf Tzadik Zayin. Masa b'shchentoi shel Rabban Gamliel, she'oisu boicho b'leil oisal ben tishchoret shemeisla. Rabban Gamliel had a neighbor, a woman that was crying all night for her son that passed away. V'hoyo Rabban Gamliel shomea et kol bechya, v'haya buche ima ad shenoshru risei einav. Hadohi dechsiv, bochoi tivke belaylo v'dimoso al lechya. So the Medrash tells the story of personal tragedy. Rabban Gamliel had a neighbor, and she was bitterly crying all night. She lost a son. Rabban Gamliel heard her cry, and he cried with her. Ad shenoshru risei einav. And that is what the pasuk says in Eicho. Bochei tivke b'laylo v'dimosa al lechya. What does it have to do with Churban Beis Hamikdash? Personal tragedy that could strike anyone and anywhere. What does it have to do with Churban Beis Hamikdash? Yes, it has to do with Churban Beis Hamikdash. Because the Beis Hamikdash is not only a krovis karbonos, the Beis Hamikdash is Ashoras HaShechina. Ashoras HaShechina equals He'arat Panim. He'ores Panim equals Midas Orachamim. And Midas Orachamim is a life of peace and serenity and well-being. Churban Beis Hamikdash is not only Bitul HaTmidim V'Hamusafim. Churban Beis Hamikdash is Hester Poni, which equals Midas Adin, which means pain, suffering, and tragedy. When the Novi is menaber, the Novi Zechariah Keitza Yomim, he says, Oidi Yeshvu Zekenim Bezekenois Berchoivas Yerushalayim, Ish Mishanto Biado Meroi V'Yomim Yalodem V'Yalodois Mesachakim Berechovoteha. Where's the Kohen Gadol? Where are the Karbonis? Of course, they're there. But besides the Kohen Gadol and the Karbonos, Moshiach Tzedkeni means Yalodem v'Yalodois Mesachakim Berechovoteha. So personal tragedy. When a 20-year-old boy falls in a Ramat Golan, that is a manifestation of Churban Beis Hamikdash. Shlomo Zalman should have been playing somewhere with his friends in the middle of the summer. Shlomo Zalman should have been sitting in yeshiva and learning as he loved to do. But he is no longer with us. That is a manifestation of Chorban Beis Hamikdash. That is the tragedy of Klal Yisrael. V'hadoi dichsiv bochoi tifke balayla v'dimosa alechia. Some Lamdonim probably would say, Rabban Gamliel heard his neighbor crying. He took advantage of her crying and he tried to funnel it into Chorban Beis Hamikdash. I don't think that's pshat. Hoyu boiche ima. Hoyu boiche ima means he cried along with her. He cried for she cried. He cried because her tragedy was his tragedy. He also cried for that child that was lost. And he cried for Chorban Beis Hamikdash. Because crazy tragedy. When a young boy is killed, that is a manifestation of Hester Poni, of Midas Adin, of Chorban Beis Hamikdash. All tragedy, in a way, is connected to Chorban Beis Hamikdash. And first and foremost, primarily, I have come just to tell the Rindenows that your pain is the pain of all of us. It is the pain of Klal Yisrael, and we all feel your pain. I will never tell a grieving family that I feel your pain as you do. That isn't true. That is impossible. But you could be confident that we all share your pain. And I'm sure that we'll all do whatever we can to ease your pain for you and your family and to be with you. So let me share with you a Chassidish Weiss, a Chassidish story. Seem to be the only chosed out here. If it would be Shabbos, it would be easier to tell. But it seems likely that I'm the only chosed out here. So Chassidim tell the story of Moshe Leib Mesasov, one of the greatest disciples of the Noam HaMelech, Rebbe Melech Menashensk, said that the essence of the Ohafto L'Reachu Kemoicha I learned from a Gentile. I was walking on the street and I heard two goyim speaking one to another. Mr. A asks Mr. B, do you love me? And Mr. B responds, aren't you ashamed to ask? We've been the best of friends for 20 years. Of course I love you. So Mr. A asks Mr. B, do you know which tooth hurts me? Mr. B says, how could I know? Did you tell me? How would I ever know? So Mr. A asks, did you ask? How could you say you love me if you don't know what hurts me? How could you say you love me if you don't even know what hurts me? Said Reb Moshe Leib Mesasov, it is then that I understood Oimek HaDvorim. What is V'yohavto L'Reachu Kemoicha all about? Could we possibly say that we love other people if we don't care, if we don't know, if we don't feel their pain and their suffering? That is the essence of V'yohavto L'Reachu Kemoicha. So the Baal Shem Tov taught us Talmidim. We have to learn from every experience. Everything we see, everything we hear comes to teach us. And according to that principle, Reb Moshe Leib understood. If he happened coincidentally to hear the conversation between those two people, it is not coincidence. It comes to teach. But I'm not such a big chassid as Reb Moshe Leib Mesasov. So I learned this same principle from a Toises in Menachos Daf Lamed Zayin and a Yerushalmi in Perik Tes of Nidor. So in Menachos Lamed Zayin there's an amazing Toises. Toises tells the story, Isu b'medrash. I don't know where the medrash is, but I trust Toises. Taisus brings Isu b'medrash. Hashmedai and Shlomo HaMelech, they had their dealings, as we know from Masechet Gittin. Hashmedai hotzi mitachas lepnei hayam, a person that had two heads, some obvious genetic mutation. And he married a woman that had one head, and they had two children, a two-headed child and a one-headed child. And then the father passed away, and Ashmedai brings a din Torah for Shlomo HaMelech. The one with two heads says, I deserve 2 parts of the Yerusha, 2/3. His brother said, no, we are 2 brothers, and we split it 50%. So Taisus doesn't bring what was the psak of Shlomo HaMelech, but the Shitta Mekabetzes does. What did Shlomo HaMelech do? He took a cloth and he thoroughly covered one of the 2 heads. Then he took a kumkum shel rotchim, boiling water, poured it on the other head. Both heads screamed out of pain. Shlomo said, this is one. What was the ultimate test? If we inflict pain on one and the other cries out, then they are one. So the Yerushalmi in Perek Tes of Nedorim says, what is the essence of Yahavtu l'reacha kamoicha? And the Yerushalmi gives a mashal. Person holds a nail in one hand and a hammer in the other, and he uses the hammer and he bangs his finger. Will he now take the same hammer in the left hand and bang the right hand? Shaita Shabiyolam. You wounded your left hand, so now you're going to wound your right hand. We are all one. Kulonu b'nei ish echod nachnu. We are brothers, we are family, we are one. So what is a determining factor? What makes us one? If we feel each other's pain, then we are one. And that is what Rav Moshe Leib Mesasov said. How could you dare to say you love me if you don't feel my pain, if you don't know what hurts me? So we are here all together with the Rindenows to give them as much chizuk as we can. And Shlomo Zalman should be a melitz yosef for the family. He's together with you. In Yiddishkeit, we never part. It is different. It is tragic. It is painful. But the neshumas stay with us. And the deceased know what's going on. And in Zohar Kodesh, Rabbi asks Reb Shimon, do the deceased know what's happening with us? And Reb Shimon says, they pray for us. They daven for us. If not for their prayers and their tefillos, we wouldn't be able to exist. You should only know simchas and nachas. So we are in the midst of the 3 weeks, Yemei Avelus, and we are already in the last phase, the last stage, in Shavua Shechal Bo Tisha B'Av. What is our obligation? What do we need to do in these days? We need to mourn. But it's not only about mourning. The Rambam in Perek Halacha Aleph in Hilchos Taniyos says, Yesh shom yomim shekol Yisrael mis'anim b'lehem la'orer halavavois v'leftoach b'darkei hatshuva. Because Yiddishkeit, it's never about the past. The past is not past. The past is always present. The Ramchal and Derech Hashem and the Kedushas Levi both teach us. That is the case b'Yomim Tovim, b'Moyadim. It is also the case in Yemei Avelus. The past is never past. Our past is present. And our days of remembrance are not dedicated to nostalgia, to memories of the distant past. It is always about now. It is always about here. So the Yerushalmi says, and I'm sure you all remember, Kol dor shelo nivna beis hamikdash b'yom av keilu What do Chazal say? Keilu? No. That is nowhere in Chazal. Chazal use far harsher language. Yushalmin Yomid Afei. Kol dor shel nivna beis hamikdash biyona maranolav kilu hu hechrivo. Because when we say kilu chorav biyamav, it sounds like it happened. It happened during our days. It transpired. It came to be. No, it didn't happen. It didn't happen. It just does come to be. You bear responsibility. It is you, and it is about you. Kol dor shel nivna beis hamikdash biyona maranolav kilu hu hechrivo. Because if we would be ra'ui, if we would be fitting, then we would have a Beis Mikdash. We would have a Beis Mikdash. And if we don't have one, that means if we would have one, it would be destroyed today, now. So we all have to try to imagine on Tisha B'Av as if we see. We see the Beis Mikdash reduced to ashes. We see the Pirchei Kehena, Olam al Gag Beis Mikdash, throwing the maftechas, and we see the hand descending from the heavens to collect those maftechas of the Beis Hamikdash. Malan olav kilu hu hechrivo. And that is why the Rambam writes, it is about mourning, it is about crying, but fundamentally, essentially, it is about trying to be better, and trying to rectify, and trying to be mitat. So what is it that we have to deal with? What are the most important things? The Navi once again says, Perek Ches of Zechariah. Tzoyim Aravi v'tzoyim HaChamishi, tzoyim HaShvi v'tzoyim HaAsir yir lebeis Yehuda l'soson u'lesimchu l'moedim toivim v'hu emes v'hashalom ahev. What does the Reisha have to do with the Sefer? The Reisha is an expression of hope. It's a prayer. It's also a promise that these tragic days will ultimately be transformed into days of joy, into days of happiness. So the Navi asks, you probably want to know when. I cannot tell you when, but I will tell you how. We need to examine, we need to understand what brought about the Churban of Bayis Rishon, what brought about the Churban of Bayis Sheni. What brought about, what Avedas destroyed the Botei Mikdash. And we have to deal with those very same issues and rectify whatever we can. And it is only then that we will be zeicher to Binyan Beis Hamikdash. So the Gemara says in Adon Pei Aleph and above a Mitzvah Pei Aleph, Alma Avda Ha'oretz, Alozva Mesteros, Shalei Bochu B'Torah Tchil. Churban Beis Hamikdash was brought about, as the Ran explains in Adoram, by a lack of passion for Torah, a lack of love for Torah. What brought about Churban Bayis Sheni? Yomed Avtes and Bavli, Yomed Avov and Yerushalmi. They learned Torah. They were Chasidim v'Anshe Weiss. Sinas Chinam. That is what destroyed the Bayis Sheni. And those are the two issues we need to try to invest and try to be machazik b'yamei bein hamtzorim. More Torah, more simchas Torah, more ahavas Torah, more chizuk Torah, and far more ahavas leim and kvoid chaveda. Far more ahavas leim and kvoid chaveda. So Rabbi Akiva is the one that says, "V'yahavtu l'reachu k'moichu zeklal baru b'Torah." And as Yerushalmi Nedorim Perek Tes and in Sifri in Parshas Kedoshim. What most people don't know is Rabbi Akiva says, "V'yahavtu l'reachu k'moichu zeklal baru b'Torah." Ben Azai was his disciple, a Talmud Chova. Ben Azai says, "Zeh Sefer Toldos Odom Klal Gadol Heimeno." We could appreciate Rabbi Akiva's statement What's Ben Azai saying? What's the big klal of Zeh Soifer told us of? My understanding, my interpretation is this. Rebbe Kiva and Ben Azai discuss what is the most basic ingredient, of a just, humane, Torah-dika society? What is the most central important factor? On what do we base our society, our communities, our relationships? Rebbe Kiva says, love every fellow Jew. Ben Azai wishes to defer. And in my vision, in my mind, I hear Ben Azai saying, Rebbe Kiva, our great and beloved Rebbe, you taught us but you also taught us in Perek Gimel of Masechet Avos, Chovev Odom Shenivro B'Tzelem. Chibi Yisera Noidas Leila Odom Shenivro B'Tzelem Elokim. Ben Azai says, no, I think there is something even more important than love. Respect. Zeh Sefer told us Odom B'Tzelem Elokim Boro Oisam. Chovev Odom Shenivro B'Tzelem Elokim. Because love by its very nature cannot be uniform. It is never equal. Kodesh Baruch Hu, Boro Nefesh Adam. We love some people more than we love others. And nobody could explain why. It defies logic and explanation. But we need to learn to respect those that we don't love. We need to learn to respect those that we cannot love for some reason. We need to learn to respect each other. And the terrible tragedy of 24,000 disciples of Rebbe Kiva that perished was not because Shelo Ahavu Zeh. It was because Shelo Nahagu Kavod Zeh. It is very easy to fool yourself and you say, I love everybody, I love everybody. But the ultimate test is, how do you react and act and interact with other people? Do you know how to be machabed other people and respect them, even if they have different opinions and maybe different hashkafas than you have? So Ben Azai says, we have to Rachu Kamechu is definitely important, but I think Zeh Sefer told us Odom B'Tzelem Elokim Boro Oisam maybe is even more important. So I think, yes, we need to be far better in loving each other. But we need to be much, much far better in respecting each other. And understanding that other people might have somewhat different hashkafas. But you need to respect them and love them. They might be as precious as you are to HaKadosh Baruch. So when we come together in B'yamei Ben Amitzorim, V'hu emes v'ashalom ahev, we should do more in Chizuk HaTorah. It is never enough. So I know that our generation likes to pat itself on the shoulders, and we hear from the Rosh Hashivas all the time, there never was so many Lamdei Torah as today. Torah never had it so good. So why isn't Mashiach here? Why isn't Mashiach here? If we're so great, why isn't Mashiach here? We're not so great. We're not as great as we would like to think we are. We could learn far more Torah. And we can invest far more in Asmod and Simchas Torah, and Omar Torah and Shashua Shel Torah, and Chizuk Torah, in all its manifestations. And we could do far more in Ahavas Hayim and Kloid Chavei. Shlomo Zalman was a symbol. I did not know him, neither did I know the Rindenow till 2 hours ago when I first met Reb Mordechai, and I was extremely moved, as I assumed I would be. But from everything I heard about Shlomo, he was an outstanding young Yerei Shamayim. Outstanding in his midos, always ready to do everything he can for others. I read some of the letters that his friends wrote to the family, and they all emphasize what a wonderful person he was, always caring about others. Yes, he knew what Ahavas Reim is all about. I don't know whether he ever heard the story of the Moshe Leib Sassava, but that is the way he lived. That is the way he lived. Always caring about his friends, caring about his family, caring about his siblings, and caring about his father and mother. We're all here with you, and I'm sure that Shlomo, Began Eden, will be with you. His prayers will accompany you every day of your lives. And we should all be Zoche B'Kol B'Yameinu. When we will do our share and our duty and fulfill our obligation, V'ho emes v'ha sholem ahevo, that we will be Zoche B'Kol B'Yameinu. Shetzom HaRevi'i, V'tzom HaChamishi, V'tzom HaShvi, V'tzom HaSiyu, Yule Beis Yehuda L'Soson U'L'Simchu L'Moyadim Tovim. We should be Zoche to Tchias HaMeisim, when all the families will be reunited, V'yakitzu v'yaranenu shoichlei ofo. And we should be Zoche to be as Moshiach Tzedkeinu and Binyan Beis Midrashenu V'Sefarteinu B'mheiro V'yomeinu Amen.